And welcome to Hunts on Outfitting Podcast, the only podcast brought to you by Hunts on Outfitting and by... What? I'm not reading that. Where do we get these sponsors? And by Al's Arse Cleaning, Canada's premier bidet dealer, having your rear looking clear since 1972. Alright, this week on the podcast, we're quite excited because on episode 2, we had Young Buck gets his own young buck, Ethan. Ethan is back. Say hello, Ethan.
G'day.
And co-hosting with me is Denver, because Denver also had a part of this hunt. Ethan, on the second episode when you're talking about your other deer, you alluded to, I guess you did mention it a few times, that you got a bigger deer last year, and that he's, how many points, Ethan? Like, what are we looking at here?
Well, we got 16 that are all 1 inch and above, and there's 3 more that you can't really count, but in the old timers would say you can hang a wedding ring off it, so you could call it a 19-pointer.
A 19-pointer, that is a good-sized deer. So last time you were kind of talking about the deer that you got before. Now, what was that, 2 years ago? You got this one last season.
Yeah.
You got the other one the season before. And those two were fighting and everything.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Yep. So then, Ethan, we're pretty excited. This time we get the big buck story for this deer. And it's not all about how big the deer is. Story is a story, but people do seem to like the bigger ones better. So, Ethan, let's start the day before. I understand Denver, there's an incident the day before with Ethan. We want to start.
Oh, it was like a week before we were sighting the crossbows in.
No, probably 3 weeks before.
Yeah, he got a picture of it. We were down at my place, sighting the crossbow in, and he couldn't even hit the fucking target. After he got his first trail cam picture of it, he was so worked up.
Okay, we're going to stop right there too. Ethan, how old are you?
Nah, 21.
Do you have any disabilities, Ethan?
Not that I know of.
Why are you shooting a crossbow and not a compound bow?
Because, look what I got.
Could have got that with compound. Probably not. No.
Probably not.
All right, so you guys are sighting them in. Ethan had just got it for deer season just before.
Yeah.
Okay, and you weren't hitting the target with it.
I had buck fever.
Well, I was hitting the target just prime all night, and then I got a couple nice pictures of that right before dark, and that was it. I was over.
So from the first picture you got of him to when you actually shot him, how long we talking?
Probably like September 17th. I had a picture of it.
Yep.
It showed up in a hurricane, as that deer always does.
Right.
And then when I ended up shooting it was the weekend after another hurricane.
So that's the key, eh?
Yeah.
Just blows them on in and blows them on out.
He did that
back
years
in.
prior too.
Every year he's
Every
done
year.
The hurricanes bring a deer around.
Or a snowstorm.
The worst storm you can have.
That deer always, it usually shows up in the daylight.
Oh yeah?
And then it'll stick around for a few days and then it will leave, but this trip he showed up and...
Not this time. So you were sighting in, you got a picture of him. You start sighting in with the crossbows. And Denver said he's not hitting, eh? He's hitting the neighbor's cat, windows.
He was hitting, fine.
Everything. Okay.
And then we were a little
worked up. Then he saw it.
Yeah, we were looking at his phone. We got a little worked up.
Yep.
We weren't real focused.
So I started firing arrows just everywhere. I stuck a few into a tree.
Did you get him out?
No.
Okay. What are you, I guess we'll get right into this now. What are you shooting for a crossbow? What are you using for broadheads?
It's a Barnett 380.
Okay.
Just the starter package.
Yep.
And I had Rage broadheads.
Alright, well, that's pretty good. That's not a starter broadhead, that's good. Mechanical?
Yeah.
And they opened?
They did, but next year I'm not using mechanical.
You're using fixed?
Yeah.
Why? If they open this year?
I don't know, just scares me a little bit.
Yeah, I've always thought, you hear the horror stories about them not opening, but I use the, what are they, with Rage Typhoon ones or something. I haven't shot my bow in a while, but just the way a lot of them are designed, they have to open. You see, when they hit, basically they have to open, but...
These ones have like bands, so if the band don't break or whatever, it might not open.
Okay, yeah, no, you always hear that with mechanical ones, that they might not. So you got pictures of this buck, you got buck fever, looking at pictures of them. Okay, yeah. And you really weren't sure then, if you calm yourself down. So this is just after pictures, then you went out to practice some more, and you couldn't hit.
No, just not that night.
But the moment of truth came, and obviously you got him.
Smoked them double lung.
But we're not quite into the story yet. We're working up to it. You always jump the gun on these, but that's okay. Like it. The night before, you were going out with a dog for a jog, were you? Just to blow off some steam and, get rid of some of that buck fever. What happened?
No, I don't know. It was a bit of an episode, that story for another time.
All right, Ethan, the run turned into quite a...
Didn't make it home in time. We'll leave it at that.
bathroom break. No outhouses on your roof. Okay, so I guess Ethan, yeah, I'll let you start again. So you got pictures of him. You knew that he was hanging around. Did you have pictures of any other bucks last year that were like pretty nice?
Yeah, him.
Just him.
The 10-point he was
I
running
thought
with,
there was
too.
a 10. There was a 10.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay. The 10-pointer was nice too, Ethan.
So that was, yeah, the 10-pointer hit, yeah.
He's obviously a little nicer because he's 16.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So the 10 that deer when he showed up, he always showed up with a smaller one. This year it was the 10-point.
Okay. Yeah. So this was last year's first time you got pictures of him, you said, or of this one?
Of that one?
Yeah.
No, I've had pictures of that one for 5 years.
Of the deer, the 16-point, 5 years.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So how was he looking every year?
It looked, for the last 3 years, it was, last year, 2 years ago, it was bigger than when I shot it.
Yeah.
Less points, but it was a lot wider and taller.
Oh yeah, so he's kind of going downhill. Did you get it aged?
Yes, I did from
About
DNR.
6?
It was 6.5.
6.5. That's a good guess. Because I think that's 5. I think they say is when they, they start kind of going downhill,
Yeah.
sort of thing.
So
Yeah.
when he was 5, he was prime.
Yeah.
Like really big, thick body, and then this year he lost a lot of weight, and he was missing teeth, and
Jeez.
He
Getting
had,
old.
like, no teeth left.
Really.
Nothing.
At that age, eh? That's not
Yeah.
that old,
He had
really.
back teeth, but they were pretty wore. Like they were just
Yeah.
filed right off.
Okay. All right. What were you feeding them? Rocks?
Yeah, rocks.
Flavored rocks. Yeah, just sprinkle my cotton candy on them.
Apple rocks.
Yeah. So you, yeah, that's a big deer. So he went downhill, but you had pictures. You've been following this deer's lifespan, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It would come. It usually showed up early season. That's why I got a crossbow, for the most part.
Oh. Okay.
And I just wanted something kind of quick. A bow, you need a little more time and practice, but
Yeah, because here in New Brunswick, we can start our bow season. Was it 2 weeks before rifle?
3
3 weeks before rifle. So you were hoping just to have her
done.
and then out of those 3 weeks, when did you get them? What day was it?
The first of the second week.
Oh, so that's not bad. So everyone else is out there rushing around during gun season and all that, and
Yeah.
near misses, near shots, and everything, and you're done, eh?
Yeah,
You're
that
sitting
was
on the
it.
high horse.
And that week I had a call to go away on storm work, so
Okay.
I knew that deer was going to show back up, so I told him I couldn't go, and ended up I would have
Really?
when it showed
Where
up.
were you supposed to go?
I think we were supposed to go to Maine for.
Did they lose power there?
Yeah, quite a bit.
Yeah, and you're
so
just like, you know what?
fuck this.
Yeah, I got deer to shoot. And the Mainers are like, oh yeah, we understand that. They understand. They're hunters.
Oh,
I mean, they probably would have liked electricity, but you
Yeah.
You gotta
there's lots
gotta
of
hunt
guys.
when you can hunt. Oh yeah. You didn't have to carry the team, eh? No. So you're getting steady pictures of them
Yeah,
before,
only
or only the storm.
just a storm and the next day, and that was it. He was there the evening prior,
Yep.
throughout the night, and then it showed back up the next morning at daylight, and it was gone. But then I got some inside intel on where it was at. It was way over by the golf course, I guess.
Okay. Who gave you the inside intel? A golfer.
Yeah.
All right. It's who you know, eh? It's who you know.
Yeah.
And so then you had a good feeling though.
I knew it was going to come back.
But that's funny. So the hurricane, you had to go away for storm work because of a hurricane. You're like, that deer's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
I pretty much figured it was going
And
to
the
come
other
back.
previous years, he was like that too.
Yeah, especially early in the year before the rut, he would just kind of show up at random times, usually after a bad storm or before or
Yeah.
during.
Really?
Like the day that deer first showed up this season,
Mhm.
I was actually getting tree stands ready that day, so I brought a pole saw home from work and I was just cleaning up trees way up in the air. And there's a picture of me walking by the camera with the pole saw running at like 12:15, and then at
You were
like,
running?
Yeah, it was downpouring bad, so
Oh,
I was hustling,
You
trying
were
to get
hustling.
there.
Yeah. Not to get electricity going for people, like to
No,
get your deer
just
stands
my
ready.
deer stand
Okay.
ready.
How many stands were you running for this deer?
Just the one there,
Okay.
but I was helping my uncle with a couple stands, and I had another one.
Oh, your uncle, is he from the other story?
Yeah.
Yes. You guided him and stuff?
Yeah. So then, yeah, I had a picture of him 3 hours after I was there running saw. So
Yep.
just I couldn't believe it.
Didn't bother him.
No, I got
No,
home.
it
and
doesn't.
I seen I had pictures at the stand, so I figured it was probably just a doe or something.
Did you have on any scent eliminator or anything when you're in there?
No, just 2-stroke.
See, I know. I don't. It doesn't affect them, right? I don't find it does a lot.
So
Really.
I had the Amsoil Dominator and the old steel, and buddy, that thing came running.
Really.
Yeah.
That's what you got to put in. So those of you listening, that are new to deer hunting, douse yourself in 2-stroke oil, and
Yeah.
screw the scent eliminator.
Just a leftover.
I'll put that in
dirt
a
bike
bottle.
oil.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So what you put in it?
Yeah, it was just my old dirt bike oil, so I threw it in the saw, and
That got him.
that thing came running.
So then, but you weren't there, so you saw the picture after.
Yeah,
like,
this
oh,
was
dang.
still in September, so we couldn't
Oh.
even hunt then.
Okay.
But
all
that
right.
I didn't know if it was still alive or not. So when I seen a picture of it, that kind of gave me hope to. This is my year.
That's crazy though. So you storing 5 years in a row, you were getting pictures of him,
Yeah.
and he's 6. So I mean, you've been tracking him quite poorly because what happened to the first year? No, I was kidding. That's really good.
Yeah. This year he thought he was going to sneak by me with his little buddy he brought, but no. 'Cause I
Now-
lost.
So the night that you're gonna get this to happen, you finally dialed in with the crossbow. Denver, you guys,
Yeah.
lost them to the trees. There's decorations now. You hang your wind chimes on them, whatever you got to do. And you said though that Ethan was quite pumped up to shoot. There's a 10-point he thought about getting, and you're
Yeah.
like, "Don't." Denver, tell us what you're coaching him through this, not to shoot the other one, so we get this. What's going on?
They've been traveling together all season, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, he was in the stand. He texted me, 10-pointers out.
Yep.
You can't shoot that 10, man.
Well, actually, that morning it was there in the daylight, and I was sending him pictures while we were.
Oh,
both
this
at
guy
work.
was.
Yeah, he was there in
And
daylight.
this-
Oh, the 10-point was.
Yeah, 10
Oh,
pointers.
okay. Yep.
Like the
Yeah.
day before, in the daylight, like 3 times that day.
Really?
So it was there at like 7 a.m.
Just eating like you had apples.
Yeah, but it was like kind of chasing the does like super early in the season or
The
something.
pre-rut, right?
Yeah.
There's such thing as a pre-rut. Yeah.
So that's
yeah.
what he was saying. If you go there tonight, don't shoot it. And I was like, I don't know. And sure enough, yeah.
So the 10-point was nice though.
Yeah, it was a nice
It
deer.
was a nice deer. Okay.
Oh, yeah, he watched it. How long did you watch it?
25 minutes till it got
Was it
dark.
killing
It
you?
got dark.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I said, like, you can't leave the stand. Like, your best opportunity to get that deer is with that 10-pointer, right? Like, you can't spook him.
Yeah.
He sat in the stand, like, 2 hours after dark.
Waiting for him to leave.
Really?
Yeah.
Just sat there.
You think it would have bothered him that much if he spooked him
I
though?
didn't want to risk it because they
Yeah.
were together for the last. Because that deer showed up on Sunday night. This one.
Yep.
And it was with the 10-point every night, and this was Tuesday night that
Okay.
this happened. So I said, I don't dare leave because if that thing shows up and I scared away, then that might be it.
Maybe.
Didn't want to spook it, so
But the 2-stroke oil didn't. So
I know. But I wasn't wearing the 2-stroke
Oh,
scent that
yes,
night, right?
yeah.
So
yeah. Well, that could have been your downfall that night. If you were, you wouldn't be watching the 10-point for 25 minutes. You wouldn't 25 minutes hauling out this big guy that
No.
night, right?
well, there was that night that I could have shot the 10-point. There was a spike horn and 2 does out eating, and I heard a deer coming. Sometimes you think there's a squirrel that might be a deer, but you can
Right.
tell when it's a deer. So I knew there was a deer coming from behind
Because
me.
it's not short and bushy-tailed.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
kind of calm and quiet steps, and they're like the same noise every time it steps. You can just tell. And I looked over, and it was like 8 yards away, broadside, looking up, just perfect shot. And I'm like,
Really?
kind of looking at it, thinking, I should shoot this thing.
Yeah.
And I said, well, if that thing's not far behind it, then
Then I shouldn't shoot
I shouldn't
this thing.
shoot it. So.
And then in the back of your head, Denver's like, don't shoot
Don't
it,
shoot
don't
it.
shoot it. Yeah.
And I just wasn't in the mood that night to kill a deer either.
Really? You got to be in the mood, eh?
Well, sometimes, yeah. Like
What was
just,
going on that day?
There
You
was
think?
just a good sit. There was a lot of action, and
Yep.
it was kind of just a fun, calm.
You're just enjoying. That's what the hunting's all
Yeah, it
about.
was
You know,
just-
it's all about the kill.
really enjoying the whole sit that night. And
Yeah.
I said, obviously, if that deer.
You weren't bloodthirsty that night. You were taking in
No.
nature. Okay.
And I was.
Good.
That's kind of I think why I didn't have, because if I was really wanting to amped up and shoot one, I would have let the 10-point have it for sure.
Yeah. And you would have been happy with that deer.
Oh,
There's a
yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
people that couldn't sit there and watch a 10-pointer for
Oh,
that long
no.
broadside.
It was the
How
weirdest
many
thing,
yards?
because normally I get pretty excited, and I just sat there and watched it, and after I left, I'm like, I can't believe I didn't shoot that.
Yeah.
You're
When
just-
I left, I was kind of like, I should have shot that for sure.
Yeah.
And I said, well,
Of course, I was feeling bad.
Yeah, Denver's like, oh God, like I was just
Shit,
kind of
maybe I
screwing with
should've
you,
told
like
him to shoot it.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
probably your early opportunity. You had a nice deer this year, yeah. I didn't think you'd actually listen to me, Ethan. Like, I was
No.
drunk at the time.
Yeah. So then the next morning, or that night again, that deer was there. But
Yep.
the 2 nights previous, when the last picture of that deer, it was always heading a different direction.
Okay.
So the Tuesday night it would have been.
Yep.
It left the last picture of it heading the opposite direction it normally goes. And it was just kind of it was a nice
They
day.
stick to pretty steady deer trails?
Yeah, usually. But
Okay.
sometimes it's just at random. But I had noticed every time he had left the other way,
Yep.
he seemed to not come back until like the following almost morning. Like it was like a 12-hour or more. So this
Window,
time he
yep.
left the other way. And I thought, well, maybe he'll come back kind of the same way he did. And then sure enough that night, he
did. You had him on clockwork like that.
Yeah, he came back.
I find the deer that early in the season where there's not as many people in the woods and all that, they are fairly like clockwork. You can set your watch to them. I find for the most part. And then once October, the end of October rolls around, fairly unpredictable.
Yeah, when
except
the
for the
rut
does.
starts, they're pretty all over the place.
Yeah, well, our rut starts usually at the last week of deer season or even the week after.
Yeah,
A lot of guys
usually like
find
the
it.
last week of October, they're still pretty coming out eating and not really caring.
Yeah, and then we had that pre-rut that
Yeah.
you obviously saw and everything. Yeah.
It's a weird. Yeah, the pre-ruts could be kind of anyone in October early. They kind of start acting weird.
Yeah. Do you act weird? Then,
Depends.
Depends.
More of a Saturday night acting weird.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
So you left that night thinking like, why did I listen to Denver? You're like, no, taking it in, right?
Well, I
Just
walked
taking
out
in
of the woods
nature.
back to my bike,
Yep.
and when I got to the bike, it kind of kicked in what just happened. And I was a little wound up, so my uncle's also on my camera, so he can see. So he
Oh,
was
yeah?
texting me like, "You didn't shoot it."
It's like, are you sleeping? What's going
Well, I
on?
guess I was texting while I was sitting in the stand for 2 hours waiting to leave. So then I went to his house kind of to wind down because I was kind of wound up, and he
Really?
said, "I can't believe you didn't shoot it." I said, "Well, glad I didn't."
Yeah,
And
well,
I thought that might have been it. That was my opportunity. Maybe
Sure.
that was all I was going to get. So
yeah, but we hadn't even gotten into gun season yet.
no,
So you were just like really beating yourself up.
pretty bad.
Did you-
90% of the time when that guy made an appearance,
Yep.
he let that 10-pointer go out first.
Well, first.
Oh, smart.
Like-
yeah.
Like clockwork.
It did too, and like 10 minutes after the 10-point would be out, he would follow it right
He would
out.
follow out.
Except for
Yeah.
that night you were
one
there.
night.
So that night that you let the 10-point walk, did you tell Denver? And be like,
Yeah, I probably texted him when it was out because I was kind of just
Denver still was like a little drunk. He's like, no, man, don't shoot it. You're good.
yeah. So then the next morning, the 10-point was back. During the night after I sat there till 8:30 from whatever it was 6:30 it got dark. I
Yep.
sat there till 8:30 waiting.
Jeez.
Probably like
You're
midnight.
committed. Yeah.
He showed back up with the 10-point.
At midnight?
Yeah. So he wasn't that far away.
No.
And then it like was gone for a few hours, and like 4 a.m. was when the picture of it left going the opposite way it normally left.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it was kind of, its ass was facing like kind of where I sit, and he was heading
Yep.
almost like north, which is, it usually kind of went like east. It was,
Do they stick to very particular deer trails you find?
yeah, like in that area they kind of seem
They
to.
just stick right to it, like they're not going to come in from some random
No.
angle or anything.
So then that next morning, the 10-point was out by itself. I was at work at this point. This is probably like 7:30 in the morning.
Yep.
Check my cell cam, 10-point's out.
Yep.
So I'm just.
So you
every
just
picture
dropped the
waiting.
power lines, head out. Like,
No, I wouldn't.
good luck microwaving tonight,
I
guys.
think we finished the job up around like 1,
Okay.
and I was gone, straight to the stand.
Yep.
But that night, I went and took my bike up, 6 bags of fresh apples.
6.
6, yeah.
You didn't want to go in anywhere.
Well, I had the next 2 days off.
Okay.
I was planning on hunting, like I was just going to not bait and just go and
Do you
sit.
use anything else besides apples? Do you use any scent besides your 2-stroke?
No, just not at that stand, no, just apples.
Just apples? Why at the other stands you use different stuff?
Carrots or some, maybe sometimes, just depends
No,
on the
no
area.
sense, eh?
No.
Not even when the season's really cracking?
I'll try like doe piss or something, make a little mock scrape, but
Yeah.
the last 3 or 4 years I've been fortunate enough to get one before the rut, so.
He's never made it to the second week of
I did
deer
1
season.
year, I hunted every day
What?
for a month and got one last week.
Okay.
But I could have shot one the second morning. That was bigger than the one I ended up shooting, but
Well, hindsight.
yeah,
right?
hunting's hunting. Learned a lot that year.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so that day I went in early again, but I also had a bear coming too. So
Oh yeah, I remember you showing pictures of that. He's a good sized
yeah,
bear.
I ended up shooting that thing too.
You did?
Yeah,
Yeah.
made some nice bear glizzies.
Okay. All right.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
When did you? Yeah. When did you shoot the bear? Before this guy?
No, about 2 weeks after.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Deer season was done. You're like, oh, I feel like sitting in a stand.
And I snuck in because there was pictures of it. I just got home from work. And
Yeah.
like as I pulled in my driveway, I had the first picture of that bear. So I just jumped on the bike, flew up there, basically walked in. It was laying on the bee pole, picked its head up, and I just kind of
Really?
bead right on him and flattened it right on the bait.
He didn't hear you come, or he did hear you coming,
No,
and he
I
wasn't
snuck
worried
in
about
pretty
it.
much on my hands and knees.
Oh yeah.
And then like the way my bait was in the trail in, it was like basically couldn't see nothing. 10 yards away, there's the bear, and it was face down on the apples.
So you were close.
Oh, I was too close for comfort.
You could have just grabbed him right by the fur and patted out with him the old traditional way.
I pretty near.
Give him a bear hug.
Yeah, that wasn't it was kind of scary. And then when I shot it, it was just.
Was it
flat.
still scary?
No, he was dead. One shot right to the dome, and he was flatlined.
Okay, all right. Yeah, it was a good sized bear. It was a boar.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, yeah. I remember seeing the pictures of it. Yeah, it was a big one.
Yeah.
So you got him after.
After that.
Okay, yeah.
So that night of this one, I went in early, and there was a doe and a kid out feeding, and then there was a spike horn also. But this was probably 20 minutes before dark. I could hear, you could tell it was deer in the woods.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really sure what was going on.
Because it's the woods, and that's normally where deer are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But the doe started acting kind of eerie, so she left, but the kid followed her, and the spike horn stayed out, but he was kind of acting weird.
Yeah.
But the doe like looped around, and I don't know, it was super weird because I thought I could still hear them, so I thought it was that deer. I didn't know what it was coming out, and then the doe and kid came back out where the sound of other deer were.
Yep.
So I was like, what? It was just it was weird. So then she ended up leaving.
Were you weirded out?
I was a little bit weirded out, yeah.
Were you thinking about leaving, or you're like, no?
No, I knew something was going down because she was acting weird, and it was just, you could tell there was deer there for sure.
Yep.
So she left, and then the spike horn was just standing there eating, and I could still hear something in the woods, but it was kind of getting close to dark. And the little spike kind of just looked up and gone. So I said, okay, for sure, something's
going on.
And then I seen one come
Then
out.
all the horror movies you watched as a kid were coming back to you, like, what the hell is going to come out?
Yeah, so then I seen a deer coming down from at the end of the shooting lane, and it was coming in head down, face on, and it kind of stopped, picked its head up, and I seen the white of antlers, and I said, oh, it's him, for sure.
Yep.
And it got close enough, and I put the scope on it. It was 10 point.
Yep.
So I thought, yep.
Here we go
again.
Yeah, that's...
2 nights in a row.
Took the words right out of my mouth, yeah.
Because it was the same time, probably like 20 minutes before dark.
You get a good show, though.
Yeah, it would have been a good show.
Better than watching just
But
those.
the night before, there was still, the spike horn was there, and when the 10 point came out, the spike horn kind of followed it.
Okay.
But he had ran, so I'm thinking, no, that deer,
the big one's
big
coming.
dog's here for sure.
Yeah.
And it was just like clockwork. The 10 point come in face on, and probably 10 minutes after, it was getting very close to dark. So it was the point where your eyes are playing tricks on you almost. And I just seen the silhouette of a big deer step out, and I said, it's him. I knew it right away.
Do you have a scope on your crossbow?
Yeah.
Of course you do, because you crossbow guys.
So I put the scope up, and like as I put it up, that turned its head, and I seen the antlers. I said, "Oh my God, it's him!" And it was broadside. So I'm like, almost panicking, but not panicking. It was a whole weird because there was
buck fever.
Well, there was 2
thing,
bucks
right?
there, so I was more scared of shooting the other one by mistake.
Oh yeah.
So I kept putting it on the 10 point, and I bring it back to that, and I did this about 6 times, and then finally I for sure knew what I was shooting at. That I knew it was him.
It was him. Okay.
So I just kind of took a big deep breath, and I brought it down like just below his shoulder, brought it up above his back down.
Yeah.
And I just.
Then aimed way up for some reason because I was nervous.
No, wasn't really shaking or nothing at that. I was pretty calm. I just calmed myself down.
The deep breath work.
Oh
breathing
yeah.
exercises.
And then I took one
Hunter
big
yoga
deep breath.
kind of thing.
Basically just squeezed the trigger, and then deer just started running everywhere. Because there was still the spike horn, doe and the kid, and then the 10 point, and that one. So there's 6 deer, there's 5 or 6 deer there. And then I heard a big fall.
You could hear him fall?
I heard something go, but then I'm thinking, I didn't hear that. because you get kind of playing tricks on yourself. You're thinking, no, I'm just tripping. There's no way.
Were you on the influence of something?
No, I was mint.
Okay, I was on the influence of buck fever.
I had buck fever for sure that night.
Yep.
So I kind of just sat there for a minute, and I'm like, I just shot at that deer, but I could see my arrow stuck in the ground, like right where he was standing.
Oh, so it passed through nice and clean. Now, how far away were you shooting?
30 yards.
Oh yeah, it passed through easy then, yeah.
But I didn't know if I missed it, if it went over. Like,
Oh, okay.
It was
yeah.
just, it happened so quick, and then...
Do you have the lighted luminox?
Yeah.
You do,
So
eh?
I could
was
see
just
the
kind of guessing
luminox
if you
stuck
did,
in
yeah.
the ground.
Yeah.
And it looked like where he was standing, so then I was sitting there for a bit, and I guess, I sent Denver a Snapchat of the luminox, and then I sent my uncle one too.
What were you thinking, Denver?
I called him right up. I was like,
It's like,
"Did you get him?" He's like, "I think so."
you answered in the stand?
No, I was there at this
He was
point.
walking.
Okay,
out.
all
I
right.
said, "I'll meet you at the house."
Yep.
So I went and picked up my.
How
old
was your
man.
night? Were you hunting that night, Denver?
No,
Why?
I was working.
Okay.
On my way home.
All right.
Got home, grabbed my bike, loaded it up, went and got my dad. We all went out to Ethan's house, kind of just gave it, I don't know, what do you think, an hour or two?
Yeah, about an hour.
Oh yeah. Okay.
We went
Good
in
time.
and
Yep.
We sent Ethan in first to go look at the arrow, make sure
In case
there
the bear was still in there,
well,
like,
make
go
sure
ahead,
there was
Ethan.
some blood on it.
You know what?
What?
Actually, when I went in there, I come around the turn, 10 point stand there broadside.
Were you debating?
No, I was just like
Okay.
thinking, you're stupid, man. You gotta get out of here. It was him and the spike horn were standing there.
Well, they maybe they knew something you
So
didn't
ho-
at the time, like the other guy's dead.
Yeah.
We're safe.
Well, I guess that's
Maybe.
it. But when we were at my house, I had pictures of it already. Like 20 minutes after I shot that deer, 10 points back.
Oh, so it didn't phase him at all.
No.
Every year I shoot a deer there, they usually stand over its cords before I can get to it.
Huh. Okay.
Warning the thing.
Yeah. That's a good warning.
Yeah, so I went in first and there was blood on the arrow. So then I called them and they came in. But when you're the one that shoots it, you almost have in your head something different than if someone else that wasn't there. Like, he can go in and look where I said, oh, it didn't go that way. But if he goes and looks, 9 times out of 10, it probably did go that way.
I'd agree. Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
saying to them that I heard it go up. And I did hear it go up. That's where it fell. But it ran kind of down and then on an angle back up.
So Denver, when you came in to help him look, did you pay attention to what Ethan was saying, or you're like, I'm just going to start looking for sign anywheres?
It was hard to tell. There was so much turned up leaves, right? There was,
Yeah.
what, 5 deer there?
Yeah, and there was
Yeah.
So
6 of
there was
us.
probably 6 of us, right?
So
we
you're
all
seeing
picked,
tracks splitting and going.
Yeah.
We all kind of went, we knew it was on X side of the bait pile, so we all started on that side.
Okay.
We were
The mountain of
hands
apples.
and knees looking for a few minutes, and
Yep.
nobody found nothing. I found 2 little tiny drops. And I had to pick it up and check like
So you
3
knew
times.
it was hitting. Were you weren't positive you hit him, Ethan?
Not
Well,
at first. But
not
the
at first,
arrow
yeah.
had
After he
blood
checked
on
the
it.
arrows,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so I found 2 little drops, and I had to check it like 2 or 3 times before I yelled over.
But you weren't sure how well.
And then
No.
soon as I found those 2 drops, probably 10 feet up, it just
Yep.
started leaking. Like you didn't
Yeah.
even
And
have
you
to look.
you were on that trail, Denver, not Ethan or anybody
Well,
else.
as soon as he found it, he...
He yelled over. You guys
Yeah.
came up. Everyone's on their hands and knees.
But then once, after where he found the blood, 10 feet more, you didn't have to look at the ground. You could just look straight.
Oh yeah.
It was just
Yeah, it
pissing
was
blood
just like
everywhere.
it was
That
painted.
much?
Yeah.
Sounds like the arrow worked, or the broadhead worked really good then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like it
through
opened
and
them up.
through both lungs.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
split it 2 inches wide.
Okay.
But
So-
it was I hit it kind of high, but it was half quartered away, so when I hit it, it kind of came high and it went out.
Yeah.
Through. So it hit the lungs like on a perfect angle.
Okay.
So I think that's
Nice.
why it kind of had to bleed up a ways before it could start kind of pulling out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it wasn't a low, it was kind of a high
So you
shot.
guys, did you guys get up off your hands and knees? 'Cause
Yeah.
you could see it.
Once
You
they
could blood
found
real
the
well
blood.
then, yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys, alright, so you guys are tracking along.
Yeah, they let me go first once we found some blood. That was pretty... So it was just like,
Again, in case the bear came.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, you go, Ethan. Yeah, you'll be alright.
And it was probably like, I don't know, 20 yards after he found the first blood. It was dead. Right where I heard it fall, too. So
Oh, yeah?
It was kind of up.
So you did hear
I
him
did hear it
crash.
fall for sure.
Yeah.
But there's deer around everywhere, and you're thinking, you're always kind of thinking the worst for some reason when...
Yeah. Yeah, especially shooting something big like that. You're
Yeah.
like, it's like a unicorn. Like, can I actually get my hands on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah.
So then I seen its white ass laying there, and I got up to it.
Just
where
grabbed
was-
it. And like Ethan, you grab the antlers too.
Not the and then it's after dark, so there's no one. If it was still alive, no one had nothing to kill it with. Maybe an old pocket knife, but so
Just jump on it and put it in a
I
chokehold.
kicked it first to make sure it didn't jump up, but
Yeah.
once I realized
he
it was
didn't.
dead, there was some hooting and hollering going on
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
Then he got up and ran.
Yeah. We were pretty excited.
So then you guys got it out, and that was
Yeah. we
exciting
drug it
deer
out.
season for
It was
you.
it was a good little drag out over a bunch of deadfall and
Oh,
water
yeah?
and
You had lots of help though.
which was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it didn't take too long. Really.
No.
And then was that when Denver's like, I told you, you shouldn't have shot that 10-point. They're nice seed. Aren't you glad you listened to me?
No, when we get back to my house, we were definitely talking about that, saying, look, if I had shot that, I would have never.
So Denver's like, basically, that's my deer, because, I
Yeah.
made sure that you,
Oh, I was just
You got
glad
it.
he shot it.
yeah.
I felt bad for him passing that 10 up, because I would have shot that 10 for sure. No questions
Oh,
asked.
nice
I think
deer.
most people would
No
have,
questions
yeah.
asked.
Yeah.
But it was that early in the year, and I was in a good mood that night just to.
And like
Just
the
to
9
take it all
times out
in.
of 10,
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
fun.
9 times out of 10 he was with that 10-pointer every time and sent it out first.
Yeah.
I mean,
So they're buds.
But the way that he followed that deer out, you could tell it had all of its trust in it. That it knew it was safe.
Oh, yeah?
And I don't know if they were in there fighting or what they were doing. I'd say that he was trying to chase it around or something, because it was
Yeah.
there was something gnarly going on in the woods with them two.
Really?
Yeah.
The friendship was off, or?
I don't know what they were up to, but it was a pretty good little tussle, it sounded like.
Oh, yeah?
And-
You heard all that.
Well, and then it would get quiet, then it would get loud again, but it was getting to the point where it was almost getting dark. So
Did you
it's
hear
like,
the antlers?
No, you couldn't
Okay.
really hear the antlers, but you could just tell that there was definitely two deer chasing each other around. And
Yeah.
the only thing I could think of was, it's him and the 10-point.
Yeah.
Because that was like the two main deer I had there at that point.
Right.
There was a couple other random, like 6-point bucks, but they
Yeah.
would just kind of usually wander out in
So
daylight.
you're just balled up with deer then.
Usually that time of the year, yeah, it's pretty good, but
Yeah.
then there's a lot of hunting pressure, and I think they start running for the hills.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So that's why you're happy to get done bow season.
Yeah,
Lesson learned, you're going to try to get done bow season
that's the
going
plan.
forward. Yes.
I'd like to be done before rifle season.
Let all
again.
those crazy rifle hunters sort it out, eh?
Yeah, or get one the first day of rifle.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That I think a lot of guys had that plan in mind, but
Yeah, that's a good
you know.
one.
so your crossbow worked. You were able to sort out the jitters,
Yeah.
and you made it happen.
I never have got buck fever really when I actually get one in the crosshairs. It's like everything, all the worries just go away, and it's just, you see one thing and that's it.
You just zero in. You just that one. You get your zen or whatever they
Yeah.
call it, and just
You usually take a good deep breath and just kind of let the crosshairs fall right where you want it. And as it's falling, pull it.
well, that's how you do it.
Usually, yeah.
Okay,
I don't
alright.
try to hold it still in one spot, because that's when you start shaking. So
Yeah.
if you just kind of bring it up and down,
All right, that's good. That's good advice. Yeah.
that's what I find. Because usually you pull a little bit, so if you let it kind of slowly fall, as it's falling, you see where you want it, pull.
Okay.
And that's my
That's
success.
good advice. All right. So for
From
those
a
of you
young
listening,
hunter.
basically what you're saying is keep it moving. It's like you're shooting skeet. Just boom. Pow.
Yeah, but not
I
like,
wouldn't recommend everyone doing that.
not
but
super
whatever works for you.
aggressive, but
Yeah. Oh, I know.
when
Yeah.
you're sitting there trying to fight the crosshairs in one spot, that's when you start shaking bad.
Does your crossbow have much of a pull on it?
Not really, no, but still.
Just when you're putting the arrow in, getting her knocked back. Yeah.
When you shoot the reload, like the arrow to unload it.
Yeah.
The dud. When
Yeah.
you shoot that on the ground, she's got some bite to it.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's pretty
yeah.
I've
funny.
never used crossbows.
It
Yeah.
goes like this far in the ground if it's soft.
Oh yeah.
Kicks up a bunch of dirt like an old mule.
I remember a crossbow story when Denver bought his dad a crossbow. He brought it to my house, and Denver's like, "Well, we got to make sure it's shooting right." First shot, right in the lawn. I found it with the lawnmower next summer. No idea where. And then so his dad got it for Christmas, and I think Denver, your brother's like, "It says it came with 3 arrows. There's only 2 here."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, they must have ripped us off."
Yeah, first shot with it. Gone.
Right in the dirt.
Gone.
Yeah. It shot though.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we were
That's
wondering
funny.
if it shot or not, it did. But, Ethan, that's a nice deer.
Yeah.
Great story. So you're pretty pumped up to get him?
That was a deer I was wanting to get for, and there's a lot of people that wanted to get that deer also, so it was kind
Oh,
of.
yeah. So he was on other cameras and other people's radars, was he?
It has been for a few years.
Yeah, yeah.
And the end of 2 seasons ago, 2020, 2 it would have been.
Mm-hmm.
I had a picture of that deer in like a nice snowy morning with a doe. It just looks like a picture in a magazine.
Yep.
So he always would show up at random times in the daylight. But then someone else had a picture of him actually on top of a doe after the season.
Oh,
So
really?
I knew it survived.
How far from your stand?
Probably 2 kilometers, kind of
Okay, yeah.
up on the hill.
Yeah.
So I knew it survived, at least, but then the past year I had no idea if it was going to have, because I had the minerals out and stuff, and...
Had you ever found any sheds from him?
No, I don't know.
That's where you got to get Denver on the job. Denver, we're going to have another podcast with Denver. Denver is the shed. Man, Denver, you just picked it up last year, and you've been on fire with it. We're going to have a good podcast, but that's sometime. You've been hammering down, getting a lot of nice sheds that, people have been... Well, you went out, last weekend, helped a guy that was looking for sheds from a particular buck that got away, and you found them.
No, he actually found them, and
He found them, okay.
Yeah, right out in an open.
You were his good luck charm, though, I guess.
Yeah, I said I've never actually went out and looking for a certain buck and actually found both of them.
Both
laying
of them?
side by side.
Yeah, that is rare.
Opening.
Yeah.
He was pretty wound up about it. We were pretty happy.
Well, yeah, but
Big deer.
you've found quite a few sheds so far this year.
Yeah.
Yourself.
Yeah, I got 6 so far. Even last year, I
That's
haven't
not
even
bad.
been out as of...
You haven't been out a whole lot, really.
As of, no.
You just know the right spots now to kind of
Yeah.
look, and getting the hang of it. So maybe you guys could find those ones with the squirrels and porcupines hadn't taken care of them.
I don't know where that deer goes.
He was a roamer, that guy.
Yeah.
And it wasn't hard to tell because he's always had the same features horn-wise.
Yeah.
He just has a lot more extra shit going
Some
on
extra
this
junk,
year.
yeah.
It's had the same antlers for, the whole time.
So it's a good thing you got him, though, this past season, because next year, you said he's already shrinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really gaining mass either.
Yeah. He was on the downhill, yeah.
Last 2 years ago, it was nice.
Okay,
It
yeah.
was big.
And then, you got a little smaller. But did he have as many points?
No, it didn't. It only had 11.
All right, but you said there were long
They were
tines
nice
on
long,
him.
It was wide.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good deer, and Ethan, it's a good story. Like, a little bit of history with it and all that, and you held out, had that nice buck in and everything, the 10-point, but didn't shoot him and stuff, and listened to the wise words of Denver, just kind of like shooting in the dark with that too. Denver's like,
I was
you'll be
second
good.
guessing my words too. So.
Yeah, just tell Ethan that.
I'm glad he listened.
Yeah. I had a gut feeling too not to shoot that one because it's...
And not to go to work in Maine.
Yeah.
Too, because you
that
knew.
And I probably wouldn't have been home, so...
Yeah.
I knew
It'd be
it was
a little
gonna show
easier
up.
passing 10 points up, especially with the amount of pictures over the years, the history
Yeah.
of the deer.
Yeah.
Anybody
Well, that's cool
else,
you had that
10
many
pointer come
pictures.
out, she's down, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, you got 5 years and thousands of pictures of one deer and know exactly what he's doing. It's a little easier to let those 10s go.
It's neat, though, that he's such a roamer and that he's still, survived with the amount of hunters around, and also still kept coming back to
same spot.
to your spot, yeah.
Every year at the same time.
It's those apples you're picking, eh?
Must be.
With the lawn trimmings, a little bit in there, yeah. Yeah.
No, I just leave them be too. I don't really mess around with them. I just kind of go in early in the day if I'm baiting, and that's it.
Yep.
Like I don't like to bother them.
You have a cell cam?
Yeah.
So you're not going in there pulling memory cards? No.
And even when I did do that, I'd kind of have them down to a science. I usually knew what they were going to eat in the run of a night or 2 nights. So.
Really? You had them, portioned out?
Well, yeah. Usually it was a bag a night, so if I put 3 or 4 bags out, I was good for 3 or 4 days.
It'd be that exact day?
Yeah, and I usually like to go in there when there's still 2 apples left.
Yeah.
And rebait, because then the next poor guy that's hunting beside me, usually maybe they're not going to go to his bait. There's always something.
Keep them. So you had some competition around, but you got it done. You made sure to keep their bellies full and not have them looking anywhere.
Yeah. But for this season coming, I'm going to a totally new area, and I'd like to maybe 2 different areas and try to find another deer and try to go after it.
Hammer down on him. With the crossbow, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'd like to get one early again.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun.
So, don't have to deal with many other people.
And even if I do really enjoy rifle hunting, so if I don't get on with the crossbow, I don't really
You're willing
care.
to put in the time?
Yeah. It'd be fun to hunt a rut one year, I think.
Oh, yeah, yeah. What about, now, we have an extended 1-week season now with muzzleloader. Ethan, have you thought about getting into that?
Yeah, but I'll be using the loaner gun.
Okay. Oh, yeah, Denver's got one now. Yes.
I hope to have one down before muzzleloader.
Yes.
It's a good backup.
It is, yeah, with that extra week, because that
Yeah,
seems to be
gives
when
you a
our
little bit of
rut is
cushion,
really
right?
kicking off.
And usually they show up like that week,
Yeah.
just broad daylight.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And it's a lot like bow season then again, because there's not that many people in the woods.
Right, not yet.
So
Last year's the first year with the
maybe
muzzleloader,
this
it
year
might be
there'll
more,
but still there's not half as many as
Yeah.
rifle season.
yeah.
Because
Oh,
everyone
yeah.
and their dogs rifle hunting.
And the people that are tagged out, right? Like that alone, they're not going to be in
That's
the woods
true,
that last
yeah.
week, right?
Yeah, the deer kind of think the pressure's off and that they're good to go.
Yeah.
Well, meanwhile, Eagle Eye Ethan's out there waiting for him to step
Screw
right out
up.
and screw up. Yeah, that's right. Well, Ethan, that was a good story. I know, been looking forward to hearing the big buck story and all that from you, but the little buck stories are good because it's all about the story. Denver, I'm glad that you're here too because you're also a part of that hunt, and everybody else out there, we'll see you on the next story.